Mm-hmm. In your
Yeah.
best country
Okay, so
accent.
we're currently being live streamed on YouTube. Going to the chats right now for Tracy, and everyone can now post whatever they want within respect and reason. All right, next question. Here we go. So I'm recording them locally, and I'm recording them on top here. How would a couple that is already married unwind their marriage license contract? So we, within the living in the private, we actually help with that. And the irony is, sometimes the state acknowledges it, sometimes the state doesn't, but no matter what, the way that we do it creates a new agreement, and it's acknowledged in the private. And then if you wanted to, you can actually bring an action against the state to dissolve the license, whether they're going to or not. And whether you need to or not is two things. But if two people are on an agreement, wanting to remove their signature from it, and you do an offer, which is an affidavit rebutting or removing the signature for fraud in the fact, meaning fraud from the beginning, because there was not full disclosure, and they never do full disclosure that the state is going to be over your marriage, that the state has control of the product of the union, meaning your children. They don't do all these disclosures of Supreme Court rulings that have come down. So for that reason, you have a right and obligation to remove your signature from a marriage, quote unquote, license. And I've had people go into court after they did our paperwork. The court actually sent a response, and they went and battled it in court and finished it up. I've had people battle the county recorder. But here's what happens. You're doing your notice, you're doing a signature removal notice on an affidavit, you're doing a notice of non-response, and then you're doing a certificate of default. Now that is called a properly defaulted administrative process. And if you look at the federal rules of procedure in federal court, like how they get to a summary judgment, what we did is we took what the procedure was for an administrative process, and we brought it into the private. And we use the exact same process they do for non-judicial foreclosures that they do in federal court to get summary judgment. We do that same process in the private, creating a new agreement, and then we put it into the public through an active state, and then we serve them with what's known as constructive notice of a publicly filed document, to just leave you guys alone. So whether or not you get it actually dissolved or not doesn't matter as much as you've created a new agreement in the private. So if they were to ever say anything to you as if you have to honor some stipulation to let them steal your kids, you don't have to honor anything, because that was something you removed your signature on lawfully, created a new agreement, and served them with what we call constructive notice. When you say quit the corporation, does that mean quit your jobs too? If so, how should we support ourselves? So we're not, as a ministry, giving counsel ever to quit your jobs. Your job is a form of an agreement, and I have exhausted myself in answering how to deal with employment related situations, because every single thing is different. You could take it on as a 1099 through your foundation. You could take it on as a W-8-BEN when you're done and go completely exempt. You can take it on as a United States citizen, and I've seen 1,000 different responses from employers. I've seen a few different responses from the IRS, but we have answered precisely what to do with an employer and spent at least a few hours on this subject, because every employer is different. Some are large, some deal with people on an HR basis a little more stern, some are more relaxed. Some you can actually come in just like the other 7 million people here in California putting zeros on their W-4 or W-9. But if it were me, I'd just simply recontract with them as a private foundation and let them 1099 the foundation all day long. They take the deduction. It's actually saving them on employment tax. But you can also stay as an employee as what's known as a W-8 BEN, which is a non-resident alien, even though you're not a non-resident alien. That's the form requirement that they would have for HR in order to send to the IRS with, whatever it is they're doing for their corporation. So there's a lot, and I'm being very loose with answering this because I've answered this before. We'll send you a few links that you can consider for yourself, and what to do and how to approach it. But it's pretty simple. If I remain at my current employer after going into the private, can I still use my current name? Of course. If not, how can I discreetly make my foundation name sound like a corporate name to use on the job? So you don't need to make your foundation sound like a corporate name. You just give them the name of your foundation and give them a W-9 and they're fine. But you can still use your name. I wouldn't contract with an employer under my name because I'm not going to argue this, even if you've copywritten it and done everything necessary. There's elements of the simple fact that the name belongs to them. I know people don't want to hear that, don't like that. Got it. Let's not debate that, but there's no jurisdiction necessarily that can be gotten over you for using the name, using what you perceive as your name. However, if you're in court and they ask you, are you this person? And you say yes, and then they say plead, and you plead, you're done. So you have to, now I'm only saying these things to you not to scare you like you're going to be in court. Everything I do and everything the living in the private program was constructed around was being able to deal with a charge instrument to remove the jurisdiction from an indictment, a warrant, or the like. And so we've reverse engineered what it took to gain subject matter jurisdiction over a man or a woman and took that off the table through the living in the private program. So the worry about you using your name is not going to get you in trouble. It's if you're a meth dealer or you got a 502 drunken driving and you're trying to get and skirt that, best of luck to you. But if you're living your life in the private, you can use your name all day long. Now, I wouldn't use it on a personal account, bank account. I wouldn't use it on credit cards. I don't use credit, and it's just, for me, it's a personal thing. And if I'm going to use credit, I'm going to do it through a credit union, because generally the credit unions are not hypothecated funds. And that's why I don't use it, is because I don't want to enrich the banks and so forth. So don't sweat the small stuff. That's a small thing. Just live your life. You'll understand going through the living in the private, the nuances. The biggest nuances are the element of how you receive mail, and the passport is the absolute jurisdictional stand. Recontracting the adhesion trust agreement, the voters, drivers, social, IRS. We do 3 separate things for the IRS, 9 total letters, 3 separate letters, faulted and defaulted. And then we put all that into the public, and then anything that you're missing, we give you a template letter to take a copy of the active state, not with the supporting documents, but just the active state. And then you can send that to another bank account that you missed or something, just noticing them that, hey, on the application, it's a requirement that I'm a United States citizen. I just wanted to make you aware. I'm absolutely a proud citizen of the United States of America. Thank you very much. Can you please permanently attach this to my application? Therefore, you're disclaiming and disclosing and correcting the record. And what are they going to do? They're going to say, what's the difference? All right, put it with his file, let him go, get rid of him. But what's happening is down the road, if there ever is a charge instrument you've handled by doing full disclosure that you corrected the record of the application. Because listen, they don't bring your passport in to get subject matter jurisdiction in a case over people. They bring applications in, passport applications, driver's license applications, everything that you've done from a bank account. They bring all that stuff in. And that's how they gain subject matter jurisdiction. So it's the adhesion contracts, it's the passport, it's the removing yourself from the office of the person, not using the name to receive mail. And that's what I think you're mixed up with in thinking. You're thinking, I can't use my name. No, you can't use your name to receive personal mail, because then you're holding that office of the artificial person, because the bank is sending you mail in the all caps name. So I get banks to send, first off, I recontract the post office. Second off, any mail received in the all caps name, it's rebutted and sent back. So I'm not contracting with the United States Post Office to hold the artificial person's what's known as office position. And that's what protects you, because they're not going to get anything from the postmaster saying, and Kelby Smith does receive personal mail at such and such address, because I've sent the 1583 associated to that box has nothing to do with me. Anything that's being delivered there in the all caps name is being sent back. And then I call that company up and I say, hey, I don't know, I haven't received my mail. Did you send it in the foundation name like I asked you to? And they're like, oh no, I'm so sorry. And like, I'll just have them email me stuff and say, put me on the email and get me off the postmaster. And I say, okay, no problem. And so as much as you can, email anything that comes in your name, rebut, but don't worry about using your name, even though some would say it's not your name. Where can I find documentation that says XRP is going to be one of the world's reserve currencies? Okay, so you're not going to have full disclosure or disclaimer from the entire world banking system agreeing on a public standpoint that XRP or XLM or any other coin is going to be the world's reserve currency. And I never said it was going to be the world's reserve currency. But I have kind of talked about it an awful lot, because they are what's known as a use case coin versus a gold coin or a Bitcoin, which has just a store of value. Their use case is a ledger, and they hold over 60 to 70% of all the banks are going to use the XRP ledger. And they gave the banks in escrow 55 billion in coins, and the banks have already bought up the majority of the other 45 billion coins, and they're doing everything they can to keep you from owning XRP. So my point is there's only two 20022 compliant ledgers that have structured themselves anywhere close to being able to handle the world's reserve currencies passing through its ledger, so that it can come out the other side instantly with little or no fee at all and no greenhouse emissions. It's been labeled as one of the 6 currencies by the IMF that you need to be considering. The comptroller of the currency used to be on the Ripple board. The Secretary of the Treasury for the United States is on the Ripple board. The Ripple board chair is on the board of the IMF. And I can go on and on and on with all the plays that are going on. Ripple, meaning XRP, already has 70% of the Asian banks, already has the Fed coin, already has the European Union, already has like a vast client base of 400 plus banks using its ledger to transact. Now it's going to be swift and it's going to be overnight, and you're going to see huge jumps. And it's a very much planned event, but nobody is ever going to say this is the world's reserve coin. What's going to happen is it is the world's reserve currency ledger, allowing all the coins around the world to transact through its ledger. But in order for it to do that, it's got to be able to swallow the debt up of the world. So the banks have to click overnight and agree that it's X amount per value to be able to allow for transactions of all coins to pass through that ledger, which allows, because it's open source, every bank to see every single thing of every wallet, of every Federal Reserve, of every bank coming through this ledger. So it's going to happen. It's not going to be the world's reserve currency, but it's going to be one of the top two, if not one, transferred coins on the planet. And to own just 1,000 of them would set somebody up forever, in my personal opinion. How do I transfer Uphold or XRP from Uphold to Trezor? I'm going to try to do that after the show. David, I don't know. It can't be that hard, but the reality is, if you purchased it with a credit card, you may have an issue. If you purchased it with funds directly from your account, there should be zero issue at all. But I'm going to be working on it right after this call with somebody else. So I'll keep you informed, but I do it from exchanges all the time. As a matter of fact, tonight after we shut down, I'm getting every single little dime off of every single little exchange, just to hold in a hard wallet. I don't trust anything. And remember, we said the currencies are going to be collapsing, and they're going to be trying to pushing cryptocurrencies out of business, and they're going to be trying to push exchanges out of business. Why? Because they want to be able to control everything. And so using certain coins that are compliant with the monetary policies of the world, with the monetary policies of the IMF, and they need, in order for all the fiat currencies, this is what they've already said, for all the fiat currencies to come into the digital currency realm, they're starting to work on that this month. And so what you're watching is the first collapse of these exchanges, and there's going to be more. And there's a lot of open doors out there that people are going to get their ball called, and they're going to be shorted, meaning they won't have enough funds to pay off what their people are trying to pull out. And so these exchanges are going to go into Chapter 11s, and people are going to lose everything. That's just a fact. This is why you want to get it off in any currency off an exchange. It's okay to see it go lower. And I don't care if you're buying high, buy high. Even if it does go lower, stop thinking you're doing stock. This isn't trading stock. Okay, you buy a car, it goes lower. Stop freaking out about it. You buy a bus, it goes lower. Stop freaking out about XRP and its value, or XLM and its value. Cryptocurrency is the lowest it will ever be again. You will never see it this low again. And meaning you'll see it get a little bit lower probably in the next dips. I'm just saying this period of time in history. So let's just get it collected, get it onto a hard wallet. And to answer your question, as soon as I figure something out, how hard it was, I'll let you know. Do we have to get a new wallet every time we transfer our XRP or XLM from Uphold to the wallet? No. Nope. You'll have the same wallet address. You open up your Trezor and you go to the receive button. It's probably what you were asking me before. I was thinking about it on the Uphold standpoint. But you open up your receive button, you're going to get either a bar, like a little square. I'm blanking on the name. And you can scan that, or you can take the code. There's a line of code numbers, and that is your key to receive funds. You go into you copy that. You don't try to type it in. You copy that. You go into your Uphold app, log in, and you paste that on a send from your XRP wallet. You open up the XRP wallet, you click transfer. You only send $10 to do a test. You plug in that key address, you transfer it to your hard wallet, you go back to your hard wallet, and you wait for it to come in. Depending on how busy they are, it could be immediate, it could be a couple hours. But once you've confirmed the $10 has come in and hit your hard wallet, you do it again, and you transfer all of it. But you make sure you do the same process. You make sure you're on a VPN when you do it. Uphold does not allow a married couple to have one account. We have a joint account with our bank in case of an emergency, and I need to get access to my husband's Uphold account. How do I do it? Okay, so if it were me, I'd first, he's going to have a key, meaning a code to get into the account. Secondly, it's going to be a 2F authentication, which means they're going to want to send his cell phone a text message. So if your husband has a heart issue and I don't wish this over him at all, but if something were to happen, do facial recognition on each other's phones. And so you can add multiple faces or multiple thumbprints onto a phone, get access. And then once you have access to his phone, you can go into the Uphold account with the code or with the thumbprint authentication. And it's going to do the second authentication with the cell phone, which you're holding, and just type in those numbers that you receive on the text, and you're in that account and you're controlling that account. That's all you got to worry about. So if I have to have my own account, how would my husband have access to my Uphold account? Pretty much just described it for both of you guys. It can go either way. We have to shut off our VPNs while making purchases. Is this still safe and secure? So when you say we have to shut off our VPNs while making purchases of XRP, once it gets, first, nothing is secure on the internet. You just know that. Secondly, VPN does provide a serious layer of security, especially when you're doing purchases. Now, when you're saying we have to shut off our VPN while making purchases on Uphold, help me with that a little bit. And go to the Q&A or make a quick comment and let me know. I got a long one here, Joan. I'm going to wait on the till the end because I might have to address some stuff. Okay. What VPN do you use, or do I think that is best? There's two. I'm having actually issues with one, and I haven't spent the time to figure it out. That's malware bytes. But the second one is Molvad. Molvad is completely private, totally private. You can buy with cryptocurrency, and this is one of the things we're going to talk about. But you can send them Monero, Bitcoin, whatever, and get your Molvat account. What happens is you're disassociating yourself, your credit cards with that VPN, so they don't know where to go and look for you on the internet, if that makes any sense. But we're going to be discussing that kind of stuff in the next weeks and months to come. So just the most secure is Molvat, but Malwarebytes is 100% secure. The problem is what IP addresses are known by banks and the like that disallow people to transact business on a bank through a VPN. And so I've had some of these issues myself where I've had to shut stuff off, meaning a virtual private network, so I can log into an account, and I don't like doing that. So I've gotten side accounts to determine what's going on, like Molvat, and doing some different testing with some well-known private VPNs, and I'll let you know what I find, meaning what VPNs do not get asked to be shut off and give me access to my bank, give me access to Stripe, PayPal, and these different types of accounts. Okay, I'm doing an essential oil event and charging X amount of dollars per attendee that want to be present. I'm doing the event using the Eventbrite platform. I need to put a bank account where even Bright can deposit the money on the ticket. Would it be okay to put the foundation bank account? Absolutely. Also just put the event name as the foundation, being the parent, the holder, and you should be fine. Is Dash anything as a coin? I don't know. I don't know every coin that's out there. I wish I did. Sorry, Veronica. I don't know what to tell you on Dash. Tokenization, XMR. I try not to spend time studying coins. I've done a lot of research on cryptocurrencies, and I'm going to tell you there's only going to be a few left standing, and so you go for it, get 5-10 coins, and worst case scenario is you lose a few $1,000 down the road. But if it were me, I would look at what the IMF is saying to buy. They're not saying buy this. This is what they're saying. We work with these coins, and understand that there is a compliance system in place for cryptocurrency. It's ISO 20022. And the Fed is saying in a single day, listen to me, I saw the article myself, in a single day in 2023, they will be moving into an ISO 20022 compliant ledger. So think about all those statements. Think about Deutsche Bank talking about and giving the exact layout of when all the countries are moving in from fiat to digital. So I just spend time. I mean, I hold 15 coins, and 80% of them are one coin. So I'm hedged hard on one coin, and because of how much I've studied it and how much I believe in it. Kelly, you have to verify that last comment about VPN interfering with upload. Yeah, thank you, bro. Let me know. Before I started the LPP, hold on, let me answer this live. Before I started the LPP, I submitted a ROE to the IRS, meaning revocation of election, and they followed up by sending me a statement of frivolous of previous filing years. Do I owe for the previous filing years? Well, I'm not going to say whether you owe or not. I'm going to say whether you're collectible or not. If you're going through the living in the private program currently, there's nothing that anybody can do pertaining to being a debtor, something that would allow for you to go into prison. It's people that have not filed returns, because when you file a return, the IRS now can set off. And so whether you have returns filed or not, if it were me, like when I went into the private in 12, I filed my last few years and got the returns in there and did my reservations on all of that stuff. And then I went into the private, and I haven't filed anything ever since. And I'm proud to say that. And but when the IRS gives you an invoice, if you've done an ROE, that really shocks me. They even sent you anything. And if you read the statements that they send you, it's kind of funny, because sometimes they'll have references of a debt collector, like this is not necessarily a debt, you can pay this or not, it's okay. I mean, I've seen all these different kinds of things within debt collector notices that are hilarious. But point being, file the return, get it closed out for the registered organization. With us, we do a notice of removal of signature. That's probably the most powerful. We do the ROE, but as a state citizen, and we do the status, notice of status. And then got to remember, all that stuff gets put behind an active state, and then the active states get constructively noticed once more to the IRS. And it's, hey, leave me alone. You know, it's like, and you won't ever hear from the IRS. They just, plus, you know, you're being smart. You're not receiving personal mail anymore. Plus, if it were me, I'd remove my mailbox from the house. You just, you know, you've taken every element of jurisdiction off the table. But I'm not going to tell you whether you are going to have a problem with something that I have no idea about the situation. Just do as you feel fit. But if you have outstanding returns, get them filed. Even if there's debt attached to them, get them filed. And whether the debt is collectible or not, you're allowing them to be paid, which is set off. What's your MOVAD equipment for computer hardware? See, Caesar, those are the questions right there. You got to be careful of answering publicly. You want to get rid of all keyloggers, physical and software, and you want to be operating on a Linux system in a VMware environment. That's what I would do. XMR is Monero. Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. I hold 0 Monero, but I don't mind washing funds through Monero every now and then. All right. So John, put in comments whether you want me to read these live or not. Okay. I'm not going to record them. We're live on YouTube. Do you care if it's on YouTube, John? Slow typing, buddy. Was that sorry saying no or scared? Got it. John, let me call you in a day or two and we'll pray together and talk about this. That way you don't have to worry about this. Copy all these down. Here, I'll copy them right now. Okay. John's got a personal thing going on, needs some help with, and that's what we're here for. I want to keep his privacy intact, and yeah, no problem, brother. All right, so if we got any other questions. All right, so I'm going to wait for some more questions to be posted. And we love you, John. I don't care who you were before. You're a cool dude. You really are. Come on, we gotta have some questions, guys. Give them to me. What have we got on YouTube? We got 1 million people watching on YouTube right now. Oh, 1 million minus 6 zeros. Pretty close. I'm getting there. We're getting there. All right, I don't see any more questions. So hey guys, sorry I was late, man. Dang traffic. You know, I went to Home Depot to get something and I totally forgot there's this traffic that for 1 mile that takes 15 minutes to get through. So listen, tomorrow night on the HISadvocates.tv, we have guys that are working on the back end, getting us a new website. It's going to be beautiful. But for now, I'm going to post a Zoom link. Do me a favor, join us, get the Zoom link out to people. We're going to be going live on HISadvocates.tv tomorrow night. I'm going to be addressing some of the stuff that I said I was going to address last week, but we couldn't get our sites up quick enough. And I don't even know if the site will be up by next Tuesday, but we're working hard to get a really high-end, beautiful website out that showcases the different things that people are interested in and gives people an opportunity to do the same stuff they do on YouTube. And when you follow it, you'll get postings, you'll get emails, you get all those things. So it's going to be next level stuff. And we're also working on the problem that we have with when we go live on HISadvocates.tv, because it's an embedded television based platform. So meaning Roku, Amazon Fire, Android TV, and soon to be Apple are, you can search HISadvocates and find us over there. You can find HISadvocates on your phones and broken down by different categories and different things, but it sucks because the streaming is so slow. Here's what I don't know. I don't know if they're messing with me. And it took me a year to get this thing dialed in and set up and understood. And so it's not like you just pick up and move, it's not like changing services. So we're working through that. We've had a trouble ticket open for 3 months trying to get this thing resolved. I don't know why. You got guys out there that are espousing complete bull crap, and they got millions of followers. So I'm working on getting the truth out there with reasonable, a reasonable understanding of, because I let me give you an example. This really upset me. I had a friend that's out there, and I watched what he did, and to me, this is unethical. Win every court case with one statement. That was the title of his YouTube, and it got hundreds of thousands of views. It's total BS. Why do you want to lead people down a lie? To a lie, because you got no supporting evidence for that whatsoever. And those are the things that for me, I just won't do. And so I have to explain through things. I have to tell people what's really going to happen with their HR, what's really going to happen at a bank account, what's really going to happen. And sometimes people don't want to hear the truth, but the whole world is not programmed to free you. And the whole world isn't programmed, especially on the East Coast, to deal with no social security numbers on a W-4. And so when you're espousing the truth to people, you're not going to get the numbers that you would for people that are flat out lying. And I hate to say this, but I'm watching a lot of these gurus out there flat out lie. And it pisses me off because they have sometimes hundreds of thousands of followers, and there's no substance or form behind what they do. And they're gathering people and they're leading the people to the slaughter, and they're lying to them all away. And it's really sad thing. State citizenship is real. It is the only real, it's not state national, it's not national, it's not national in the United States. And none of our founders were any of those things. They were a state of the Union citizen. They were a Virginianite, New Hampshireite, what I'm saying? It was a body of people collectively organized. That's the bottom line. And It's in Black's law that you can define that. And so when you get that through your head, you understand that you can't retain contracts where you're still holding that office and you're operating it as the trustee of that adhesion trust. And when you get that, coming out means you got to deal with that hole of contracts you created going into the belly of the beast. You're only going to get out that one way. There's no tricks here. It's deal with what you did that got you there first. And when you do, and you cut that whore off, and I mean whore, they're certainly not operating any other way. They're selling themselves off to the highest bidder right now. That's a whore. You know, they're actually depleting you guys who are acting as the Johns, meaning paying through taxation, through donation, through whatever you want. And you're participating in the sin of that whore. And so God bless you guys for coming and trying to figure this out, trying to learn it. I know it's not easy to figure this out. And I know it's kind of creepy and crazy, but there is a way to come out. It is not as hard as people think. And it's a process where you can have your entire hand held the entire way. So God bless you. Yeah, a lot of people promoting that whole element of national. What's up, Trace?
So you got just a few more questions. You got a really important one for Caesar. He wants to know where you get those shirts from.
This shirt right here?
No, not that shirt. You know, when me and him were talking the other day, he was talking about wanting to know where you get those shirts. So the one that he really likes is the one that says, "Your lack of ammo is disturbing to me." He wants to know how to buy those.
I have gotten so many. You gotta look, if you're gonna rock those shirts, you gotta rock them. So you better be in that gym. You better be ready to you know, stand proud. Because there's a lot of people that, you know, the one that gets the most is trust God, not government. I have probably 20 or 30 of those. And what I did though was I stopped wearing them on these types of shows, and I started wearing these full button up with a tie, or you know, a decent polo or something.
His nice guy shirts.
A little nicer shirt, just trying to dress up for the occasion, you know, make people understand I'm not some radical patriot, but you know, it's but there is a I'll look at the design on the side and just keep watching. I'll address it on the next Q&A, but there's a couple of companies out there that do that. And I bought like 25 shirts and I wore them out. And everywhere, you know, there was ones on masks, there was ones on Biden, there was ones I can't even wear. They're so risque. At the time I was buying them, I'm like, yeah, and then I put them on and look in the mirror like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like FJB kind of a thing. I don't want to put the connotation of the F word out there, but not to say I don't agree, but I don't agree with the way it was done. So anyway, I'll get you the name later. I think that's funny. Let me address the questions in the queue. Hold on. All right, Dominga, I just accidentally deleted your question. Oh no, it's under answered. Here we go. Hold on, let me go back down. Kelly, I've already defined the event in the Eventbrite and under my name. That's no big deal. Would this represent a problem in putting it the foundation account? No, absolutely not. Oh, so it's grunt style. I don't charge anything for the grunt style. That's it. I think that's the name. I think it's the grunt style shirt. That's one of them. But there's two different companies that I got it from. One is the grunt style. And oh, you asked me how much they charge. Maybe I think it was like 18 to 22. And there's another one that charges like all the way up to 30. But I got like 30 shirts from these two companies. And It's crazy. You're welcome to me. It's crazy. The attention. And some people are angry. Yeah, I got one shirt that just has a picture of an a AR-15 on it. That's it. It's just a picture, chest to chest, cheek to cheek, AR-15. And you would not believe the looks that I got walking down the street in Manhattan. We were the only people when I went on a little road trip and all the way up the coast. And the further north you got up the coast, we were the only people in Northern California, like Carmel area, on the streets with no masks. The only, and they had signs, not wearing a mask is $100 fine. I'm like, yeah, go for it. You know, and I'd walk into places and they're like, it was taboo. But now I'm wearing those shirts on those streets in those areas. That's a whole nother ball of wax. They won't say crap to a guy with an AR-15 shirt, 6'4", 290 pounds with no mask. So I gotta thank God for that one thing about my size. You know, it's they will not say crap. And you know, I can bench press probably a small truck, but I don't, you know, I'm not a fighter, I'm a lover. I used to be a fighter, but anyway, God bless you guys. Do you have any more questions anywhere? Nope. All right, cool. Next Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific. Zoom, unfortunately. And Sunday, don't forget, we all need prayer. Join me to pray. I'm really enjoying that. I really love praying for you guys and not asking anything from you. I just want to pray with you.